Let's do that. That way I can also add it in to the post. We getting there. It is live on YouTube. Let's go. Okay. Hopefully, let's pull this up. All right. Now, does it show? I have to do that, which is fine. Going to be live short, or going to actually start doing stuff shortly. I got to promote. Oh, I forgot some important stuff too. It would be nice if I had someone to do all this for me. There we go. My story. Stop it. There we go. All right, shared. Then let's also put this on Threads. Now the question is, will I be able to see the comments? I'm using Riverside to live stream this, so this is new for me. Sorry. No, there we go. Yeah, I should be able to see the comments from here. So, yeah, ask me any questions you want about Nighthawk, and I will answer. Just posted it on socials. Guess got to add it to the stories too. Yeah. So far, 3 minutes in, and I haven't said a word. Fine, right? All right. Done with all the background stuff. Time to put this on Do Not Disturb. Don't need people bothering me. I don't even know who's in here. Hey, chat. I've always wanted to say that. Like, y'all know how people who like record themselves or do live streams or whatever, they always talk about, or they always say, hey, chat. I've always wanted to say that. Yeah. As the name suggests, this is a full breakdown of the Nighthawk story. Leave your questions in the comments. I will answer non-spoilery questions. But to get started, Nighthawk is technically my baby. It's my first comic story that I actually wrote out and developed when I decided I wanted to make comics. And it's been through a lot of rewrites. It's been through a lot of changes and things of that nature. But for the most part, the heart of the story is still there. You know, the story being about two fraternal twins doing everything in their power to protect their city. That's the bare bones of the story that was originally conceived when Nighthawk was created. And with that came the idea of kind of like the entirety of the Divergent Comics universe. So, yeah. I wonder. It says I can share. Oh, I can't. I can do a screen share, which would be cool. So I might do that. Um, guess we'll do that later. I wanted to show you all something specific, but guess it'll wait. I mean, so far it's only one person that is in here. So thank you for being on here and watching for 5 minutes, almost 7 minutes actually, as I literally talk about nothing because this is what it means to be a yapper. But continuing. So I will start with the backstory to Nighthawk. So backstory wise, Nighthawk was never a character that was going to be like based on me or anything of that nature. It was always going to be a character that was going to be developed and really kind of, I guess, like inspired from just characters I've seen and read in other mediums. And with that being the case, the purpose, I guess, best way I can put it, was to really tell real life type stories. I like those type of things. Like I love stories about grounded, realistic issues, which is why I came up with the idea to make this story about, or this first issue really, about human trafficking. That was almost like always going, well, not almost always, but that was always the original story, was human trafficking. And the main reason for it is because, like, the concept and idea of human trafficking, when you actually look at statistics and things of that nature, have always kind of been there. But the stories that, or really like the unveiling of it, has never been like put into full view. I can see your comment. I appreciate it. Um, I think that's what's Slick Your Boy. I believe we worked together for a period of time. So I see your comment. I appreciate you because you always showing support whenever I do anything, and that means a lot. Uh, I'm mad that my brain is literally not working right now. But um, yeah. So with that being said, the the idea, the concept of, yeah, Shaquille, bro, appreciate you, man, for real. Um, like I said, you're always been a real one, someone who's always shown support, uh, and so that means a lot for sure. Like we worked together at Sitel for the longest, and if I remember correctly, you were showing me support with just the idea of making comics. You was one of the few people I could talk to there about comics. So um, again, always appreciate you for that. But yeah, so human trafficking is something that I don't want to say I feel like really passionate about, but I do feel like it's something that needs to be dissected and discussed. Um, and isn't really like prior to the whole Epstein files thing, like no one really was talking about human trafficking in that manner. Yeah, there was like the occasional, um, there was the occasional like conspiracy theory about like the Pizzagate thing, or like people in political power eating uh, kids or whatnot, or selling kids off out of pizza parlors or whatever. But there was very little actual conversation and discussion about like specifically people like being trafficked for various different reasons, whether it be sex trafficking, whether it be labor trafficking. Like slave trade is still going on in the world, guys. Like that's still a thing. And so I kind of wanted to touch on that just a little bit in the comic. And it's going to be a much bigger conversation as I go deeper into the story, and as I deep dive into like exactly what's going on in Lakeland and things of that nature. So, yeah, this is something that I wanted to start out with. And I'm going to dive into a little bit more as I do Nighthawk. So, yeah, that is what people can look forward to. There's a little bit more to it because, like I said, Nighthawk is a street level character. He's going to deal with a lot more real world issues. And any of you who have read any of the other books, whether it be Brontide or Charger or even Lionheart, they all also deal with some variation of real world issues. The problem, though, and this is also going to be seen in the next book that I come out with called Imperium. But like most of those stories outside of like Lionheart are going to have some form of fanaticism or fantastical element that'll be explored. That takes it just a little bit above just regular like street level type of storytelling. And so Nighthawk is really like my passion project for dealing with specifically street level, because like each of my comments are going to deal with something slightly different. Because like Nighthawk is going to be more of the street level, uh, overall like a government corruption type thing, and Lionheart is going to be more so dealing with the concept and idea of street level, but like it's like your go-to gang violence type thing. That's one I'm really excited to dive into. Imperium is going to be more of the close to like cosmic level almost, but not fully. And when that book is getting ready to come out, I will definitely go into more detail about that one. I'm really excited for that story. Yeah, yeah. That's honestly what really inspired me to go down this route of making comics this way. So yeah, I appreciate your skill for pointing that out. Brontide is one that I think is kind of like a mixture because it kind of deals a little bit with street level, but it's also like more so focused on the upper echelon type of street level. So because Bruce really comes from more of an affluent family, and like his main villain is going to be a cult leader. Like things like that are going to make it a little bit more different for Brontide, but it's also going to kind of um, take it out of just being just like local street level type of stories. And then Charger is going to be much more mysticism and the magical side. I guess you could put Brontide in that area too. So there's going to be a lot of that, and they're going to have some type of crossover in some aspects. So yeah, I wanted to like when I was making these stories, making these characters, coming up with their character arcs and all that stuff. I wanted to come up with ideas and ways of making these stories relatable, grounded, but also at the same time like give people some aspect of um, the extraordinary. So I mean, if everything was just pure, grounded, direct issues, like I think it would kind of take people out of it. But making it more grounded while also introducing that fanatical side definitely helps change that feel, and I feel like makes it much more entertaining compared to just like relatable. And my goal is to have a balance between the two of entertaining and um, entertaining and relatable. So I'm glad you mentioned Brontide. I guess tell me, should I just do a full like breakdown gloss over of each of the comics, or should I just talk about Nighthawk? Let me know because I'm kind of curious if that's something that you'd want. And if I do that, I should say, I would talk about how each of the comics kind of intertwine and connect the universe. So that'll be the other thing. And then towards the end, because I don't want to be on here too long, just yapping for no reason. But towards the end, I would also then talk about the um, the Kickstarter and some things that I'm thinking about doing and planning on doing sometime towards or in the near future with it. Okay, you asked. So, Brontide. It is I think it was like an 18-page story about Bruce, who his whole backstory, which I'm really excited because I've developed his story like even more since I've started releasing books. But Bruce is a 30-something-year-old bum who lived with his parents. I should make that clear, and he got into trouble again after having a conversation with his parents. They decided it's time for him to go. So what happened next? He left, and he ended up being recruited by this cult, and the cult is run by this man named Moses, and Moses has a secret pact made with a deity that gives him abilities, but those abilities only come about when he absorbs life force. And so he has to absorb the life force. Bruce notices or watches the life force moment happen, and he's like, "Yeah, got to get out of here." And the first book ends with him leaving, but this is something I wanted to kind of point out, and probably in the future, if I get this story redrawn or anything, I want to make a little bit more of a focus on the end, because at the very end, specifically, you saw Moses in his like ultra human form being kind of like thrown back after Bruce got in the car and drove off. Well, there's something specifically happening in that point that I want to point out, and is going to be a big focus in Bruce's story in this first story arc. So yeah, that is Brontide. The next book to come out was Lionheart, and that was in 2023. And Lionheart was one that was really fun to write because of the idea of, okay, how much can I put her through? You know, so I ended up putting Maria into this story, and it follows the Mexican American girl who loses her entire family on her birthday. After her birthday, she eventually gets adopted, and she is raised by this MMA trainer. And she has her first big fight after training for over a year, and she wins. But come to find out, the trainer had made a bet with the cartel that ended up killing her family. And in that bet, since he decided to bet against her, or he decided not to bet against her so that she wouldn't throw the fight, he ended up losing his life. And so that story, I forget what happened. I think I was watching Daredevil, and that opening scene, or that opening sequence, I guess opening couple episodes, really spoke to me when we get to see how Battling Jack Murdoch became, or died, essentially. That kind of spoke to me, and so I wanted to kind of do something similar, but a little different. So that was fun. And then having her be adopted, I thought was a really nice twist. And then the last book that came out was Charger, and that was back in 2024, 2025. Yeah, 2025. So in 2025, Charger came out, and that one, yeah. So I'm glad you point that out. I think I think one thing that I'm trying to improve upon when it comes to my writing is those subtle nods and those subtle hints at larger themes and greater character, because to me that is what keeps people wanting to come back, is like those moments where you get really good character moments. So uh, I hope that shed a little bit of light, and I'm hoping that these quick recaps, while I'm also like kind of diving into a little bit more of a, hey, this is where I was thinking type of thing with the comics. Hope this helps with like getting you a little bit more excited for Nighthawk. So the next comic was Charger, and that one took a while because I had to really come up with a new way of handling my writing. But the way that I did it, the Charger is a story about Layla, and she is an ex Air Force pilot. And in this story, she discovers she has superpowers. And when she discovers she has superpowers, that's when like these random weird acts start happening. So like the opening of the book, you get the plane that's blown out of the sky. That's going to lead into the deeper story as to the main villain. So that is something that, if you have the books, if you have that book specifically, you need to keep that marked, because it's going to play back pretty significantly in the future. Then, as she realizes she has powers, she then goes home and she's just trying to grasp what's going on with life. And that's when she notices the attack on the bank robbery. And she has this flashback where she remembers a saying or something that she experienced when she was in the military, and a moment with her father, which pushes her to try to do something. She knows she has powers. She knows she has training. She has to do something. So she tries to go to the bank. She's able to eventually stop the bank robbers, but something that I don't know if people even paid attention to, because it was kind of like a short thing that kind of just came and went. But there were two characters that were introduced in this first book of Charger that are going to have a reoccurring storyline that eventually leads into something deeper. Um, and it all ties into the main theme of identity and legacy, which is the main concept behind Charger. So yeah, Charger ends with Layla in the alley realizing she has to really learn how to hone her powers because she kind of made a mess. So that's the quick recap of all three of the books I've released so far. And yeah, so let's talk about Nighthawk. So let me see one last thing real quick. Okay, so Nighthawk initially follows two fighters. They're Jason and Axel. And when you get the book, you're not going to understand initially what's going on. And that is definitely intentional. These two fighters have a really good fight scene and then are approached by someone wanting to hire them. So that's the cold open. But the story itself is centered around the main character, Jerry Johnson. So Jerry is a private investigator who moonlights as a vigilante. And this point in the story, he has been a vigilante for about 6 months. That's where I have the story set. So, Justin, I appreciate you, man. I wish I could claim that title, but I appreciate you even mentioning that. But so Jerry, he moonlights as a private invest or as a vigilante, and so the timeline, like I said, is 6 months into his journey. So by this point, he's already kind of been in this flow, and him and his sister Kayla, again, they're fraternal twins, have already been working together for a few months now. The plan is basically they Jerry's been the vigilante of Lakeland for about 4.5 months, maybe 3.5 months actually, and then his sister Kayla finds out that he's the vigilante because she is not stupid. She is very intelligent. And she essentially forces him to let her work with him so that she can try to protect him. And the reasoning and purpose behind all of this is just due to the fact that they are trying to, well, Jerry's trying to protect the city after losing his dad. And Kayla's trying to protect Jerry after losing her dad. So because their dad was killed and they got two wildly different ideas behind it, this is how we get to where we're at in Nighthawk. So, with that set up and said, there are storylines that are going on in this book that are going to be deeply explained in future issues of Nighthawk, in future storylines. So specifically, the character, or not the character, but the storyline with the missing teens. That one is going to span a few issues of the book specifically before it gets resolved, and then that resolution is going to hit and cross over into other aspects of the story throughout the rest of the time that I'm writing Nighthawk. And there's a storyline with Kayla that's going to show up in the second issue that I wanted to show in this first one, but I ended up cutting just due to logistically not wanting to have to pay too much for getting this art done. But in issue 2, that's going to be explored a lot more. And then the storyline that's kind of like the main through line of the book with the human trafficking is one that's going to be explored in deeper depths, going through issue 2 all the way through the end of this first volume, which will be 12 issues. And that one is the one that, if you've watched or listened to my interview on Vigilante Vibes podcast, which you should check out her podcast in general. Like, if I had never been on there, I would still promote it just because she does amazing work. But I mentioned that in that podcast, there's like 4 volumes I plan on doing for each of the characters. And in each of the 4 volumes, there's going to be 12 issues. Now, with that said, yeah, yes, we do. We are Megan stans here and always. Now, if we're talking about the GOAT of nerds, I probably should give that to her as her podcast and just her ability to connect with people just far exceeds mine in every way. So yeah, she's probably the GOAT of nerds, honestly. But yeah, so like I've fully and thoroughly thought through each and every storyline for Nighthawk, leading up to the end of this story. So, with that breakdown, for the people watching, what are your questions before I end this live? And this will be immediately uploaded to YouTube. So, people that have questions after the fact, I'll probably make a TikTok with it. Who knows? But go ahead, ask your questions. I'll give y'all a few minutes and then I'll probably end it. Oh, this is actually a really good question. This is actually a really good question. So I wonder. So, all right. Nighthawk or Nightwing is my favorite character in all of comics. But my favorite design is actually Red Robin. And so I took the idea, and this is just in this first few issues, this is just the first iteration of the Nighthawk costume that's going to be developed more After I think issue 6 is when I plan on actually changing that up. But yeah, the Red Robin costume that was original that was worn by Tim Drake. Let me see if I can find that because I absolutely loved that Red Robin costume. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, this is it. Nope. Come on. I want to find a good picture for y'all. All right. Yo, Hush, how's it going, man? All right, so let me show you. This is the design choice I thought of when I was looking at Nighthawk. This Red Robin. I love this suit. It looks corny. I agree, but I love it. Also, this one. Yeah, this is actually the better idea. This is what I was thinking of. And so when I was like, "Oh, this has to be Nighthawk," like it just has to be this one. It it just hit, you know. So yeah, that was definitely the idea behind it. And yeah, I love that suit. But again, this is just the first iteration, so expect changes for sure. What else y'all got for me? That was actually a really good question too, by the way. I appreciate it, Justin. Yeah, so eventually that like also I would say the thing that really like stood out to me about the outfit that I wanted to really change was the color design. So if you notice, most times with Nighthawk, his color scheme is like blue and green or blue and yellow and things like that. Those are my favorite colors, like a navy blue and yellow type. So that's why I changed that for the book. But yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, Hush. Which one? Just let me know. We can talk something out about getting you any of the comics. And also, you talked about going live and talking about the comic. I would love to do a TikTok live with you sometime soon. So hit me up and let me know. Great question. So there's this artist I found on Facebook. His name is Daniel. I will let me see if I can pull his oh, I forgot his Facebook account is no longer active, so I can't link you all to him. But it was not easy. I started writing Nighthawk in 2019, and I did rewrites of it every year from 2019 to 2023. 2023, I finally finished the uh the script to the point where it is now. But then it was okay, now I need to find an artist to truly like encapsulate what I'm trying to have out there. And so I had I had reached out and talked to Daniel once back in 2022, 2023 about doing some artwork. And at the time it just wasn't what I was looking for the project that I was working on. And so I I don't want to say shelved them, but kind of shelved them at the time. But now what happened was I had been looking for some artists to do Nighthawk, and none of them truly like spoke to me for Nighthawk. But I got some concept designs back from Daniel, and they looked really good, especially for them being kind of an anime type. And so that ended up working out. So yeah, it was not easy. I want to say it was like at least a 5 or 6 year process, but eventually I landed on this one, and I think it works. Another good question, and actually, I'm working on writing. I've been working on writing for like the last 6 months now, a TV pilot for the comic universe. It would be already because I'm already working on how all the books tie together, and so all of them will tie together and be up under one title, similar to how DC has Justice League, Marvel has the Avengers. I have the Sovereign Battalion, and so they're going to be uh, in their own book or in a collective book eventually when those crossovers happen, and that's how I plan on going about it. The eventual way that I want the TV series to work out would be to either have it animated or live action. I'm kind of leaning more towards animated because I'm thinking kind of like animated in the style of like Casablanca for the TV series. I think that would work really well because of the themes and things I'm trying to go with for it. So um, yeah, um, that's what I would aim for. I thought about movies at one point, but my only issue with movies is that I would have to make storylines like shorter and more concise, which isn't an issue for the most part, but the thing that for me, which is why I love TV so much, the thing that works more for TV is you can do a deeper dive into the characters, and that's what I want to do with my characters, which is why I would prefer them to go under the route of a TV series. But appreciate your question on that one, Justin. That was actually a really good question. All right, what got you fully into making your own comic, and what inspired you to go through other comics? Oh, okay, bet. Yeah. I'm gonna hit you up probably a little bit later today or tomorrow, and we'll talk. But to this question, what got me into making my own comic? It's a really funny story. So initially, I was never going to make comics. In 2018, my cousin and I had talked about making a video game. Well, my cousin talked to me about him wanting to go down the route of making a video game. That eventually turned into a concept of making a comic book. And the very first comic book idea was Nighthawk that I had. He had his own comic book idea. And then we started talking about doing a comic book universe and like making all these different characters, this, that, and the third. Um, some time passed and like things just kind of didn't go the way that we anticipated it to go, which ended up with me just having my own stories by 2021. And what ended up occurring in 2022 was when I decided to finally launch the first book, which was Brontide. And no, it was 2023. I did the first book, Brontide. 2022 was just trying to get out there, find artists, this, that, and the third. So 2023, Brontide came out. 2024, Lionheart came out. And yeah, so it was just like figuring out, um, really figuring out some ways to make comics and tell stories for not just people that look like me, because one of the things that I always felt weird about was how we would see so many like stories catered to mostly white males, and then like we'll occasionally get a story thrown towards the black population. And I'm still trying to confirm this, but as far as I know, biologically, I have some Puerto Rican in me, and so I feel very inclined to also support the Latino community. So that's why at least two of my characters are also Latino. And I think things like that are important to express and show that the representation isn't just one sided, but eventually I would hope it's not just from me, but like if I can get to the point where I can bring people up under this umbrella, um, to have like Asian characters and Latino characters and even white characters from people who feel deeply about their own stories to be able to publish them. So, uh, yeah, that's what really inspired me. That was my inspiration. Um, yeah, other people have joined. So those of you watching, I'm taking some questions about Nighthawk and the Divergent Comics universe. Feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm trying to get to them as quickly as I can. We've had some pretty good ones so far. If you've missed it, they will be uploaded, or this video will be fully uploaded to YouTube once it's done. So you can go back and watch everything that I've discussed up to this point. Appreciate you, Shaquille, because it took me a while to actually come up with this one. The title, just for you, those of you who are just now catching on, um, I explained that the idea I would go to for, or the angle I would go to really for my comics, if they were to be adapted, I would prefer them to be an animated TV series or a live action TV series. Mostly leaning towards animated, but I'm okay if it's live action. But I would want it all under the title of the Sovereign Battalion. And so that's the team name that's going to be released when I do the collection book for the events that are going to come from Divergent Comics. So I'm gonna drink some water and y'all drop me some questions. So this is also a really good question, and this is actually one that came up on Megan's podcast. Um, the Divergent Comics universe, specifically the Sovereign Battalion, is only going to have five main characters: it's Braun Tide, Lionheart, Charger, Imperium, and Nighthawk. There will be other ancillary characters that will be introduced during the like main events, and I talked about this on her podcast, but there are going to be like three or four main events. I'm still playing with one idea for a fourth event, but there's for sure three. But that's it. I don't plan on doing a multiverse. There's not going to be any cross universes. It's all going to be self-contained. There is going to be time travel in these store in future stories, but it's not going to go the route of like how Marvel did it in the MCU, where if you um, create a new timeline, it's a whole new universe. It's definitely not going to go the route of DC with their multiple universes, because I don't want to even touch something like that. Um, it's going to be nice, neat, compact, and once it's done, it's done. That is it. And there's no way that I'm going to keep it going. There's no way I'm going to like have it be one of those things where it just continues to drag on. I have a definitive end for this universe, which is why I say maybe four events that are going to happen. So, but yeah, that was a good question. I appreciate you for that. I'll give y'all a few more minutes to get me any more questions, and then I'm gonna end this because I did not realize I was gonna be on here that long. Yeah, no, no. And plus, I want to do more than just like write superheroes. I want to do more than just make comics. Like I really enjoy it, and it's really fun to do this. But um, I like various different types of genres. Justin, you asked the hard questions. You asked the very hard questions. This is a really hard question. Um, all right. There's one artist that I really want to do a cover for me, and I'm actually scared to ask him because he works for DC and he's done stuff for Marvel now. But Edwin, he and I are actually friends on social media, and I followed him for a while. I would love to have him do a cover for me, and I actually plan on having him do um, one of the collection book covers because I love his art style. It's absolutely amazing. Other than that, though, I don't really know a whole lot of artists that I could think of that I would say, yeah, I would love to have their art. At least not by name. I can like point to some stories that I like art wise. Like I really like the art that was done in the Avengers in New Avengers book. The artist that worked with um, Jonathan Hickman. Let's see. Let me see if I can pull that up. Uh, Mike Diodato. I guess that's how you pronounce his name. I'm definitely butchering it, but I think I like him to do some work for me too. That would be awesome. All right. So this is the question I was going to answer as soon as it popped up. So I'm glad you asked, Hush, but I'm kind of hesitant to kind of dive into this because it makes me have to explain something that I've been kind of thinking on. And I think it's fine to explain it now. So I've gone over like the book releases a few times, and those of you who just joined, the book release that uh, timeline that I've had so far is basically one book every year. So in 2022, Bronze or 2023, Bronze Tide came out. 2024, Lionheart came out. 2025 was no, 2022 was Bronze Tide. 2023 was Lionheart. 2024 was Charger, and didn't have one in 2025. 2026 is Nighthawk. So basically, one a year has been the plan. And as an independent comic creator who doesn't sell a lot of comics or really many outside of like maybe doing Kickstarter or going to cons, that's okay. The problem is it's still expensive to make comics. And with the state of the world and the economy, it is not easy to make comics and be able to support a lifestyle. So, what I've been planning on doing, and this is to answer this question about will I break my characters in their own separate stories and have them come together? Will they already be in one cohesive story? So, to answer the question specifically, what I'm planning on doing is after this next book, Imperium, I'm going to start doing a graphic novel. And because it takes me about a year to release a book, anyways, it works out where if I do a 120-page graphic novel that has all five of the characters and their story in that book, is worth it. So that's the plan. I'm going to do one book every couple of years, and it's going to have a story for each of the five characters in it that's going to be broken up into kind of like a TV type of TV series type of storytelling. So it'll be broken up into like 5 acts, and each act will have like each of the characters going through and dealing with whatever their issue is at the time. And it's going to be following the same storylines that each character has already been developed to have. It's just going to be all in one book, and it's going to be released at the same time. That way, one, it makes more sense for each of the characters to, or for me to release one book a year at least, or once every couple of years. Then two, it also gives me more time to truly fully develop the stories and develop the art and get the books ready to go out. And then three, and the biggest thing for me is it allows me to skip Kickstarter, because making a Kickstarter has been a challenge, I guess is the best way to put it. But overall, that's the plan. And I'm hoping 2027, or be closer to 2028 ish. I'll be able to release that very first book that actually comes out that way. So thank you for that question. Got to show Edwin love. He's a dope artist, like legit one of the best that I've seen. All right. I think maybe what, one or two more questions, then I'll let y'all go. I don't want to keep y'all up on this stream too long. Plus, I didn't want the stream to be over an hour. I doubt many people are going to watch an hour long stream. But hey, who knows? Sometimes I do. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you. Um, yeah. Look for me to be on a couple of more podcasts soon. So hopefully this helps with getting some reach. I'm hoping to also have a new comic and indie comic creator interview up within like the next week or two. So that's going to be fun. And then I have a very, 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 very fun conversation coming up at the end of this month, talking with Carla about women in comics. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Yeah, I'll give y'all about maybe one more minute or so, and then I will let you go and stop talking your ears off. Oh, while I'm here, let me go ahead and do this. If you're watching this stream, the Kickstarter. No, not that Carla. The comic book creator and founder of Black Girl Comics, Carla. Carla with the K. I wish I was talking to that Carla, because that would be phenomenal. And I love her work too. So yeah, I hope to one day bring her on my podcast. But yeah, while I have y'all here, if you haven't already, here is the link to the Kickstarter for Nighthawk. Um, if you're able to go do back at one of the tiers, and yeah, if not, if you can at least share it, that'd be great too. I appreciate y'all for being on here. Um, yeah, I think this is a good spot to stop. Yeah, I'm looking forward to being live with you, Hush, soon. And Justin, I'm hoping to catch your live whenever you go live soon. So that'll be great. Shaq, thank you also for jumping on here. Oh, of course you would have this question. Okay. I guess I got to be on for another minute because I got to think about this one. Favorite show of last year? Let's see. 2025. Oh man, that's tough. Actually, now that I think about it, that actually is tough because there's two shows that I really loved that I saw kind of late. Um, so I mean, I guess. All right. So first, I want to say Stranger Things. That's one. Stranger Things, the final season, I absolutely loved every minute of it. Um, that is definitely like top tier for me. Then I want to say Wednesday, even though I think Wednesday probably technically came out in 2024, Wednesday season two. But I'm gonna put that on there because I watched it last year, which was it was so fun. Um, Daredevil Born Again season two, that definitely came out last year. Loved it. Um, Wonder Man and Iron or Wonder Man came out this year, so I can't really put that on here. But Ironheart, I really enjoyed Ironheart. That was such a fun series. I might actually rewatch that soon because that was such a good series. And I love how they were able to intertwine magic and technology. So that was great. Ah. So I got to talk about this. I was not going to watch it, and I plan on watching it eventually. But it Welcome to Derry, I was told and I've heard, does not even technically use the clown, and that's the only reason why I wasn't going to watch it because I didn't watch any of the It movies. I watched one when I was a kid and had nightmares for a week, and so like since then I refuse. But from what I've heard, It Welcome to Derry is more about the I think what it being a an alien, and so I kind of might check that out. Yeah, man, Ironheart was great. Ironheart was really good. Yeah, it was great talking to y'all. Y'all had some really good questions too. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm gonna let you go, and yeah, I'm gonna try to work on some more promo material and do some other things for Nighthawk. Try to get myself out there and hopefully get some more backers. I would love to hit goal and share some of these rewards with you guys. So it was great talking to you. Y'all have a great night. And yeah, go read some comics.